So I started angel investing in about year 2000. I think many of the entrepreneurs, they are quite naive when they approach VCs. VCs, we are there to make money. I've lost tons and tons of money, but I think those losses have helped me to become a better investor. Actually, I don't regret them.
Okay.
Why? Because every VCs is different. The Taiwanese entrepreneurs and the investors are super resilient.
Today we have a very special guest, Professor Edward Tay. He is a founder, he is an investor, he wears many different hats. Notably, he's the chairman of Infra Crowd Capital, he's the advisor to Giga, he's on the board of directors at DigiLife, which is a listed company in Singapore. And on top of that, he teaches at local universities such as NUS and SMU, which is where I met Professor Edward Tay because he teaches the very popular venture capital course. So as you can see, he views startups from many different angles, from a builder to a backer to a board strategist. So I'm very excited to have him here to pick his mind on different topics, from due diligence to how startup founders should approach VCs, and even from how angels can approach startup founders. So welcome, Professor Edward. Thank you for being here with us today.
Thanks for having me.
So, even as I was introducing you, I find that you're a very busy man. You're doing so many things. But maybe for our viewers, right, can you give us a little bit background about your professional experience, especially in the VC space?
Sure, okay. I've actually started training in the so-called VCs as an angel investor. So I started angel investing in about year 2000. Oh. And at that time, I was already one of the top leaders in corporates, in IBMs, and also in British Telecom. So my years of angel investing was close to about 18 years before I stopped, due to a possible conflicts, because I'm running my own funds already.
Okay.
So, so all in all, I've close about 25 years of investment experience as an angel, and then later on, running my running funds for others, and then running my own funds. So right now I'm running my 5th funds at the present moment.
Okay. Wow, he's an expert in this industry. So get a lot to learn from him. Now, can you maybe just share with us, where do you think Singapore is in terms of our startup ecosystem? And maybe can you contrast it a little bit with our neighboring countries as well?
Yeah. I think Singapore have had a late start, so to speak. Yeah, we approximately started about 2012 to 2013.
Okay.
Many of seniors Singaporeans like myself who are in this space, we can only work out from Silicon Valley or London, or even in the mainland China itself, Shanghai and Beijing especially. I think when the call was made to all the Singaporeans to come back and support our own venture capital ecosystem here in Singapore, many Singaporeans actually flew back in different forms and manners.
Right.
So we have up to now close about 12 to 13 years of this journey itself. So in that sense, we are still secondary schools compared to perhaps even Silicon Valley, where they started about 1950s already. They are really an old man already with 70 years of experience. So if we contrast what we have with them, I think in a very short period of time, we managed to really catch up quite a fair bit. Based on any form of reports, we are definitely one of the top 4 startups hubs in the world itself.
Okay.
After Silicon Valley, after China, and also after Israel. So as a startups, I think it's an amazing place here to really start up a place, because number one, we can set up a company. Our government is so quick in 20 minutes. Right?
Yes.
Everything can be done online. Right? In our neighboring countries, in some places you have to wait about 3 months up to 6 months. So that's one problem, right? And then the second problem is hiring of talents.
Right.
If you are doing deep tech, I'm a deep tech investor, so I can speak a little bit more about that. So if you're talking about deep tech, people, you need to hire researchers, you need to hire professors, very senior people. Most of these guys outside of Southeast Asia would prefer to stay in Singapore.
Right.
Because Singapore is a safe place. They can bring their families, especially if they have kids. This is the place that they can walk comfortably and very safe. And in this place, we do not have any floods, we don't have any earthquakes, no natural calamities.
Except maybe a sinkhole.
But beyond that itself, I think what entrepreneurs will really enjoy Singapore is we are one of the top places where it's so easy to raise funds. One is we have very strong legal framework itself here in Singapore. The current Director Generals in the YPOS, Darren Tang, is actually a Singaporean, and then Singaporeans like him have been active in many of the IP arenas. So the upcoming IP week over in Singapore is we're going to bring in about 10 to 15,000 IP lawyers, innovators who are trying to license out their IPs, and also many of the founders who are trying to, funders who are trying to come and look for the unique IPs itself.
Right.
Because intellectual property is a moat whereby we can, as VCs or angels, we're looking to really scale up our advantage once we are able to get the winners,
Right.
which is not easy in the first place. So having strong legal frameworks, strong IPs, and a strong funding environment is really helpful for entrepreneurs.
Right. Okay. And I know, through the course you also shared about Taiwan, I know you bridge investors with the Taiwan investors as well, the startups there. Maybe can you share a bit about the ecosystem in Taiwan and what are the opportunities there as well?
Taiwan is have grown so much more, after 2020. What is really interesting is over the last 3 to 4 years, with the events, especially after 2022, with the advent of AIs, we see that the Taiwan stock markets have actually ramped up. So just in last year, Taiwan was the second fastest growing stock market in the world itself.
Right.
And this is in line because TSMC, the world's largest tech companies who are supporting all the AIs and all the manufacturings, contribute about 15 to 16% of the total market capitalization over there.
Wow.
And they are still growing year on year at 20%. Yeah. Not only that, the entire Silicon Taiwan, it's in a place called Hsinchu, is actually known as the Silicon Valley, right? It's in the semiconductor space, because inside there is you can find few thousand companies who are involved in the different supply chain.
Right.
Involved in this, and then AI is a current hot theme at this moment itself. It's going to drive everything that we're going to live and do business. Very much like digitizations in the year 2000s. So we're looking about another 10, 15 years of growth, economic growth, GDP growth that's driven by AIs. And one of the core places whereby many of these companies, whether manufacturing or software, is coming out from is actually from Taiwan. So Taiwan ecosystem is really very strong. Not only that itself, the Taipei Stock Exchange have also just started the innovation board.
Right.
This innovation board is something similar to what we have in the Singapore Stock Exchange called the Catalyst Board. So they actually focus on innovations, and it actually helps startups to list up a lot more easier. And you do not need to have a track record of profit in order to list over there. So this really helps to actually encourage a lot of startups to go over there. Many people don't know. I was there, and I brought a whole group of students who are industry students like yourself. They are from listed companies here in Singapore. They are also founders. They are also investors over there to the 101 Taipei buildings. And they actually shared that up to about 10% of their startups who do listing over in Taiwan right now comes from Southeast Asia. I was totally surprised. Yeah. So they're hoping to build on these momentums, and we are definitely going to be supporting them again.
Okay. That's they have a lot of geopolitical issues with China, and US is also playing a part in this. What do you think? How does that affect the ecosystem there?
The ecosystem there has been one that is very fragile, to say the speak. But I must say that the Taiwanese entrepreneurs and the investors are super resilient. Actually, this problem about Taiwan and China does not start only just the last few years. It has been there for the last 20, 30, 40 years, especially after the Taiwan get into that space itself. At the time, if everyone remember, there was period of four dragons. Taiwan was one of them,
Yes.
Singapore was one of them, Hong Kong and South Korea was one of them. So at that time, there was already such a challenge already. Yes. The only difference right now is at that time, Taiwan is one of the four that can deliver everything that the world needs. But right now, Taiwan is the only one because they, plus Singapore, of course, we are very strong in the chip manufacturing. Right. Taiwan is definitely the leader. Singapore, we are the number two. We actually produce close to about 20% of the matured chips itself. But Taiwan's are producing almost 90% of all the advanced chips itself.
Right.
So if there is anything, I would say that the stakes now is a lot more higher over there for both the Chinese companies and as well as the American companies who are all invested in one form and another in the prosperity of Taiwan.
Okay. And now there's founders who are constantly trying to raise, right? And I'm sure you yourself have seen founders raising also when they approach you. But to date, now, what do you see some of the misconceptions that founders have when they try to approach or even work with VCs?
I think many of the entrepreneurs, they are quite naive when they approach VCs. Yes, VCs, we are there to make money. Yes, well, for the right reasons. Because the investors or LPs are putting money with us, and we are licensed under the MAS or any of the local financial authorities, and we have a fiduciary duties to make sure that we deliver a returns for these people, for our investors, because this will ensure the longevities. Unless any fund managers only aspire to do only one fund, right, which is usually not the case. Yep. So professionally speaking, there is a lot of challenge in dealing with all this. And so many of the investors will have to take into consideration many factors beyond the fact that whether the company is appropriate, employing all the due diligence. We also look into a lot in the global climate itself. Like for example, over the last quarter and this quarter, we see that actually fundraising from American institution is very, very bad. So you have companies like the Silk Road. They are hedge funds, 16 years already in making. The two founders are fantastic, but they have seen their AUM string from 2 billion to right now under 600, and they are still losing AUM as we speak in a very, very short period of time. And part of that reason is, of course, the ascendancies of Trump as the latest president, and also these geopolitical tensions right now, and this looming tariff war itself. And with all this in place, actually the future for any of the companies that we invest in may or may not be as rosy as in the past.
Right.
So it's for that reason alone why at this moment of time, actually many of the investors are pulling back. For those who have raised money, they will try to pull back. Some of them are actually pulling back so that they can continue to conserve some money for future rounds for their existing portfolios. So it is better for us actually as a fund manager to continue to support our existing portfolio than to support new portfolios.
Right.
Yes, because we have more money at stake with them, and it pays much more for us when we continue to do that.
Yeah.
And knowing that the environment is going to be very difficult out there itself. So right now, investment in brand new companies is very, very little, unless it is really truly a bright spot in the industry.
Right, because you want to continue to support and bet on your winners, right? You mentioned about due diligence. Even in my own capacity to invest into new companies, I also think about due diligence, what I should do. But an interesting that something I heard online is that there was this angel investor. He says that due diligence is not something for angel investors. Don't waste time on it. It's about whether you trust that founder, you have a rapport with the founder. Everything else is moot. So, what do you think about this? Do angels really need to do due diligence, or from a VC perspective, how important is due diligence?
I think due diligence is always a bread and butter for VCs. Right? Many people don't realize the really top-notch VCs like us, we are doing due diligence every day. Right? When we actually do networkings, when we talk to people in the first 10 minutes, we already do due diligence. It's preliminary due diligence. How are you? How are you not? We try to understand more and more people. And then also sometimes when we actually decide to look into any particular company, we will also do due diligence. This due diligence is more in terms of what is the general technology developments, what are the general operational challenges. We actually do due diligence in very specific areas that we do not have the expertise in-house. Because every fund managers, we operate at a very lean manner itself. It's not possible for us to have few thousand people to do this. Yeah, VCs as it is, we are very much like what we call a commando units. Each and every one of us are very strong, super strong. We are expected to survive without food, without water for a long time, right? We're supposed to be the Superman, so to speak. So in that sense, every minute really counts. And for many times, we also rely on our partners. Whereas a lot of VCs, we do call each others, we do drop names with each others, and then to really understand if there's any so-called red flags. Right, red flags like, for example, is their private life clean? Are there any compensation challenges? Are there any employees who are bad-mouthing the business?
Right.
How about the suppliers? Are they being paid on time? Subtle red flags like this, we actually do make an effort to actually do this.
Okay.
Yes.
So you actually check suppliers all the way down to how the employees are feeling about the founders as well. Okay, so in that sense, as you do your due diligence, I'm sure a lot of them, they don't get funding from you. But in that process, have you ever missed out on a winner that you regretted?
Well, I've always said that joy more joy of missing out. Our business is one that is not easy to hit even one unicorn. Yes, despite all our best efforts. And these days, it's still a myth. How certain people land up with unicorns versus others. So I have about 4 to my name. I find that it's still a learning journey for me. Right? Am I looking for my 5th one? The answer is yes. But when will I expect this? I really have no idea. But in that journey itself, what I find was actually we have to learn to give up on some very, very good spots, right? Based on our investment criteria, plus there is a certain amount of gut feel.
Right.
I think the top unicorn VCs, we have a gut feel, right? When I can say over the last 25 years, I have done all the wrong mistakes, all the mistakes as a VC, as an angel. I've lost tons and tons of monies, but I think those losses have helped me to become a better investor.
Right.
It helps me open up my mind. It helps me become more resilient. Right. It helps me continue to back on some of the more flimsy companies that we do go in. Sometimes not because of the founders, but because of the general climates. Because general climates change, and because they are, and sometimes also the entire team have an inability to pivot with time. So there are many subtle things that we do not have full visibilities when we actually invest in.
Right.
Because in most cases, we will use like 1 month, 2 months, up 3 months, for some of the Japanese company up to a year to do due diligence.
Wow.
This is still not enough time, because when we invest in the company, likelihood this company is going to last about 5 years, 7 years before we actually do the exit strategies. So we have to be really very open. So for me, I trust my this sixth sense, right? We do professionals. We run through all the criteria and everything else, and based on all the data, we will look at this. But the decision will have to be made only at the GP levels, because this is where we are different from the rest. Yes, I have walked away from many cases because of certain red flags. And do I regret them? Actually, I don't regret them.
Okay.
Why? Because every VC is different. every VC is different, and I'm techies. You know, I do engineerings, I do codings. I talk to suppliers, I talk to engineers, I talk to product developers. I open up their codes, you know, together with them. We actually do debugging of codes together.
Wow.
So we are literally, you know, working together with them, right, to build a company, to work on the best codes, and to really talk about the business. So I'm a very hands-on person, and this is very relevant because I'm a deep tech investor. For some of the other VCs, some of my counterparts, they are more into consumers, they are more into low techs, they are looking at more of the business and more of the other criteria. But for us, deep tech is really about technologies. Technology is 60-70% of the whole thing itself. If we bet on the wrong technology, then there's no way that this company will become a unicorn.
It sounds like, you know, it's better to, you know, give up on some rather than to bring on someone that you know you have a sensing of red flags and you don't want to invest in them, right? And it's interesting you mentioned about AI. Earlier you're talking about how AI is changing everything. I mean, Taiwan is the ecosystem there. But basically AI got a lot of attention back in I think 22, 23 when ChatGPT was released, right? And since then, many things have changed. Now you have agentic AI, which is not so new already. You have government talking about governance, you have companies talking about compliance and things like that. What is your take on the next AI winner in this space?
I've been an AI student, yes. So my first AI applications, right, actually is 1996.
Oh.
So at that time, as undergraduates over in NUS, we actually built neural networks,
right,
applications that actually helps manufacturing floors, right? Because in the 70s and 80s, Singapore's we are actually busy building up our third wings, and we are building up our manufacturings. We're trying to move from, you know, the third world into the second world and the first world itself. So manufacturing is a really huge use case for AI at that time. Actually, as AI students, you know, we were known as a geeks. You know, nobody really understand what we are talking about. Right. What neural networks? I mean, we had to spend like 30 minutes to explain what we are trying to do with everybody else. Besides my professor and a few others, and my counterparts who are using different AI techniques to look at the same problems, we are very, very niche. Yeah. And when you fast forward 25 years into, or rather 30 years into right now, where everybody feels that AI is here for the long run, everybody can use some form of AIs like generative AI, which is in the overall context is really the nascency of this, what I call the AI revolution. Singapore and the world, we are undergoing an AI tsunami right now. And Singapore, we are definitely leading in this area. Singapore right now, we have an AI Plan 2.0. Our first AI plan actually started in 2019. This is even before the whole AI tsunami comes. Right. But now, you know, because of everything that we do, we have AI Plan 2.0. And very soon we'll be having an AI 3.0. At this year, in 2025, agentic AI is the way to go for it. So I sit on, as a board member of the Singapore Accreditation Councils. We are planning to help all our members who are in the inspection, testing, and accreditations arena to adopt generative AI solutions, to adopt agentic AIs, to help them raise their top line, to help them reduce their bottom lines. Yes. So we are really doing it at the association levels in one area as well. And not only us, there are many Singaporeans like myself who are supporting maritimes, supply chains, you know, all the 20 to 30 different industries areas, because every one of these are a little bit different. We are trying to solve industry problems faster. We are trying to help the industry players reduce the cost. We are trying to help industry players get more business using AIs itself. And so after agentic AI, what will be really interesting is we are going to be looking at a lot more AIs used in the hardware space. Right. Robotics, right? 2026 will be the year of the robotics, right? AI plus robotics. Believe it or not, it's over in China, over in US, there's a lot of both software and hardware who are already building all these robotics. Earlier this year, I was part of the MAS delegation to the Japan FinTech festivals. We've actually seen Japanese robots. These Japanese products are applied purely in the healthcare.
Right.
So their robots looks and feel like a Japanese, right? We actually touch the skin. Their skin is actually as supple as us. They look very fair, right? So they are dressed as nurses. So they actually talk to the elderlies. They actually write letters for the elderlies, send emails for them. They actually feed the elderlies with medicines. They actually help to carry some of the elderlies.
So these are all robots?
These are all robots.
Right.
Yes. And the deployment areas is in the nursing homes and in the hospitals.
Okay.
I am flabbergasted at the time. Yes. Obviously, MAS have supported us because they want to give us a lot of exposure into this itself. And I think the next wave for Singapore and Southeast Asia is really about elderly. Because if you look at Southeast Asia, right, not only Singapore, but also Thailand, and also to a certain extent, also Philippines, we have close to about 20% of our population hitting about 65 and above, with the exception of maybe even just only the Indonesias, Laos and Cambodias. A good 50% of ASEAN's countries are heading towards aged populations.
Right.
And in aged populations, one of the biggest problems that we have, definitely in urban centers, is having people to help, because the salaries is very, very high. And here in Singapore, we already have a total fertility rate of a very low level. So how do we actually support our elderly, which you and me eventually, in another 20 years, we will be one of them, right, in time to come. So I think having robots, that are driven by AIs, well-meaning robots, will be the way to go forward.
Right. Okay. In fact, as we were reviewing companies, there are a lot of solutions that use AI. Maybe not robotics level, but they use AI to do triaging. Figure out what kind of sickness they have, especially in the mental health, right? Dementia and things like that. So that is it's quite in line with what you are sharing also. And we have seen a lot of, in this region, we've seen a lot of unicorns, right? You have the very famous one like Grab, C, Caro, Ninja Van, Carousel. And more recently, Eraro was also crowned a unicorn, and they were HQ in Singapore, if I'm not wrong. Do you think in this climate we can still find unicorns?
Definitely. The word is definitely. I can give you a few examples. I think one that I'm quite bullish about is a company called Magnus, Magnus AI. This company exploded. This company origin was from China. So they actually exploded out because they were actually able to fulfill. They were able to compete at the global level itself. And the Chinese founders actually then moved their HQ from China here into Singapore. And now a lot of people are behind them to support them. And this is one of the companies that actually is one of the leading companies to actually get a head start and position Singapore very comfortably in the race course of agentic AIs. But not only them itself, there are quite a few of robotics entrepreneurs that I do know from different parts. Some of them are from also Hong Kong and Taiwan as well. They are also thinking of coming over here as well.
Right.
And we constantly have regular flows of a lot of Europeans, fintech companies, fintech entrepreneurs coming over here itself. And fintech is also one of the big aggregator of the investment funds that we have. And AIs, there's AI in finance, which is a very strong use case.
Right.
And in this case itself, actually, we are helping a lot of the financial institutions. Of course, these are all supported with MAS because there are fundamentally big challenges. For this year, cybersecurity is one of the big issues. And one of the reasons why cybersecurity has become so big is because a lot of the hackers are using AI to build viruses. We have came to a stage whereby both the white knights as well as all the hackers are using AIs to fight against each other. So we cannot stop not using AI anymore. This has become something that if we don't use that, we will be losing out. Losing out to, and we will not be able to maintain the kind of a lifestyle that we have. So this whole evolutions tied on with also the explosive development of quantum computings have actually helped to accelerate this entire cybersecurity challenge that we have. And in fact, just this month we have a couple of major challenges right now, state back. But can you imagine that in about 2 to 3 years, right? Even students, bright students, right, with the tools of AIs and the quantum computers, right, they're able to create certain viruses that is so complicated to actually resolve, right? Yeah, at the national levels. That maybe some of all this will actually be used against us, against our critical infrastructure, against our schools, against our government agencies. So how do we actually protect ourselves against that itself? This is something that I think everyone is also trying to grapple.
Right.
So I've been trying to push a lot on AI in education. Later this year, I'll be publishing a paper on that itself, which is the use of AI to help educations.
Okay.
This education we are talking about, for primary schools, secondary schools, for polytechnics, for even undergraduates and postgraduates. There are different AIs, methodologies, and ideas that we should adopt as a country, so that we can actually help to position Singapore to be not only the forefront, but to really to maintain our living standards going forward.
Okay, so I think I just one more question for you. This personally for myself. So as you know, I'm trying to, as an angel investor, trying to always to look for startups to invest in, and there are always new angel investors coming on board. What is your advice for us, right, angel investors who are looking to invest into startups? What is your one advice?
Don't give up. Yeah, don't give up. Yeah. I've been an angel investor. Before I become a full-time professional fund manager. I've lost money at one time close about 7 to 8 years.
Wow.
Close to 7 to 8 years.
Okay.
It's losing money consecutively for 3 years is a pain already.
Yes.
At the point of 5 years, it's really very mind-boggling. Yes. At one time, I was really, and many times, I was really asking, am I really cut out to be an investor? Yes. Yeah. Is this what I want to do? I keep asking myself, is my money that I made from one side goes out to all my startups, and over a period of time, it was gone. But eventually, I find that there is always a pivotal moment for all of us as investors. There is a moment where not only we discover our blind spots by going to schools, coming for courses, right, understanding, but also practicing what was being taught, right, and really appreciating this and make this into our DNAs, so that as we carry on our day-to-day life itself, we are able to actually maintain a high levels of this what we call DNAs, and this DNA is very different for everyone. Your DNA and my DNA is different. Right. My race course is in deep tech, so I need to be techie. Right. I'm still learning programming languages. I'm learning my 15 programming languages right now, and I tell you, it is super not easy. Right, super not easy. But you will have each and every one of the investors will have their own fields. I have seen investors who are in urban farmings. So they spend all their times, they go out to the fields. Here in Singapore, urban farming is great. Right, they go to HDB, they go to Lim Chu Kang's. They actually looks into all these grounds issues, climate issues. So all of us, we have very different learnings, and that different learnings itself in the same macro environment is what makes all of us possible to have success. Yeah, at the same time.
Right.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be zero or one thing. Yeah, the only thing is we usually, for investors and even entrepreneurs, we lack a lot of disciplines. Yeah, financial discipline is one. Right, yes. When we should not spend money, we go and spend money. Yeah, when we should go and you go after a winning one, yeah, we are scared. Yeah, we pull back.
Right.
Yeah. So these are very across the histories. From the Silicon Valley, we have seen a lot of such cases. Really. Yeah.
Right.
The people who are able to really back and support a winners goes literally all the way, right? Yeah. But this going through all the way takes a lot of courage, and it's not easy. It's not easy.
Yeah.
So I think I'd like to take this opportunity to wish all the entrepreneurs out there, and also angel investors like yourself, all the best in your investment journey.
Thank you, Professor. I think I learned two things from the last question that you answered. First is don't give up. My understanding is, out of maybe 10 portfolios you have, 9 of them will probably not make it. You are chasing for that one that can give you 10x return, 20x return, and to just not give up and to continue to support the entrepreneurs, the startup founders. So that is the thing that I really picked up, and I would go forward with it. So thank you, Professor, for being with us here today.
Thank you for having me.